Here is a Lasko pedestal fan. I think this is the model number 11 something. Let's see if it's on the bottom of it. It's probably on the piece that chipped off. It's just like the 127 maybe or something like that. I don't know, that's totally wrong. I'll post it into the video box when I find out what it is. Anyways, this is a I think this is a decent fan. Yeah, it's kind of noisy. This was another trash find. There was something wrong with it. I know there is always the chip in the base, which is not enough to affect the stability. It's just dirty. And there was something simple that was wrong with it. I think maybe the like the blade had come loose and was just spinning on the shaft or something dumb like that. Real easy to fix. Yeah, it's not a bad fan. I used it a lot when I was fixing up the house and we were having, you know, if you were sanding something and there was going to be a lot of dust, or, you know, if you were using saws or what have you. So if it got dirty, it didn't really matter. So I used it for that for a while. And then I've just kind of kept it here in the garage after that. I have another one somewhere which is in much better condition, so I'll use that one in the house if I ever want to use one in the house. But it's got adjustable stand here. It can be this tall, or it goes down to that height, and of course anywhere in between. Okay. It's got 3 speeds with the oscillations. It's hard to see it in there, but it's got the same kind of motor that they put into the box fans. Most of these fans that Lasko makes at this point are more or less all variations of the same thing. They use the same blade set, some of which are a little bit more sturdy than others, some have more pitch. This one has a little more pitch than what you'd find in, say, the Lasko 3733. And then you get some of them, the motor's a little bit stronger, a little bit weaker. This I think is 1.1 amps, whereas the 3733 is 0.8 or something. So it moves a little bit more air, but it's more or less the same general design. It moves air pretty good for what it's worth, but it's a very noisy fan. So let's go ahead and switch this on to 1. Even for a garage, I find this kind of loud. The airflow is decent. I can feel a pretty strong breeze from all the way across the garage here, which is maybe 20-something feet. Definitely a noticeable amount of air movement. Decent flow. Nothing crazy, but it's quite satisfactory for a relatively inexpensive all plastic fan. The 2. It's got a pretty good variance in the speeds. Number 2 moves considerably more air. It's also considerably louder. You know, but again, all the way across the room, we've got pretty decent airflow. And high, which is quite loud, although it is quite strong. This is pretty effective at moving air all over the garage, which is a decent sized room. And Actually, the balance, for what it's worth, is quite satisfactory too. Which is surprising. That's not a common thing with the Lasko and the Air Queen Fians. Let's put it onto the articulations. And they seem to work just fine. Well, they're a little jerky, but they work. I don't have power to move this ever so slightly. Let's see if we'll do it again. Yeah, so I mean it's throwing the air. To the 2. The oscillation is kind of slow, which is nice. When it goes real fast, I don't find that the air travels correctly. It's not crazy loud on the 1, but there's definitely much quieter fans out there. Now some people like loud fans, and that's fine. I'm not one of them. And we'll stop the oscillations and then we'll shut it off. And this has never been serviced or oiled or anything. I've cleaned the guard and I've cleaned the blades and I've blown the motor out with compressed air. But that's all I've ever done to it. I have to say, for whatever it's worth, these Lasko Fians, these newer ones, if you keep the motors clean and free of dust, that's usually enough to keep them going for quite a few years. The bearings and the lubrication don't seem to be an issue on these fans, and it's definitely an issue on some others. So overall it's not a bad fan, but it's definitely very noisy. For me, it's too noisy for use inside like a bedroom or something like that, so probably keep it out here in the garage, and it'll serve just fine in here because the noise level isn't particularly relevant in here.